start off with questions. No statements.
Anthony McFarland was not at practice today.
Yeah, he came out later. He's doing some rehab stuff early in practice, and he comes out at the end.
So is he still day to day?
He's gonna be day to day. Trying to get the swelling out and range of motion and see how he reacts. Yeah.
So what did he do at practice? What
He used mostly visual. He came out and watched because we're trying to limit the reps on it. With the high ankle, the more reps, and that's kind of what we've been fighting for 3 weeks. So we're trying to get him the mental work, not do the physical, and see how it feels come Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday are big rep days for us. So we'll see how he feels tomorrow, and if it's a little better, we'll hopefully get some reps out of him tomorrow. That's kind of what we've done the last 3 weeks, except he's been out there, but now we've been doing the extra treatment. We've got him on a feel-good plan where we're trying to get the swelling out and get him back to where he can play at 100%.
Do you know exactly when he got hurt?
It was before the Penn State game. Temple game is when he first got the high ankle.
In the game.
In the game. Yep.
What was Josh been able to do? I know he's out
A little bit more today. He threw individual yesterday, threw a little bit more today, looked a little less gimpy per se. So yeah, he's progressing, coming along nicely.
Do you have any time frame on?
With these lower extremities, it's mostly on how they feel. We went into the Rutgers games with Johnny Jordan thinking he was going to play because he repped, and we warmed him up. He couldn't go, so I know people hate day to day, and I'd rather tell you if he was in or out. And it kind of hurts us because we practice these guys and they take reps, and if they don't play, it kind of is a robbing Peter to pay Paul deal because we got to get another guy ready. And so I hate day to day, but because of our depth is where we're at. We're trying to get these guys to the game. So yeah, that's where Josh is.
It looked like Sean Savoy took a couple handoffs. Is he kind of the emergency option back there if Anthony can't
I
go?
don't know what you're talking about.
It looked like today he did a couple.
You got badly mistaken.
Okay.
I saw
game
it,
plans and, really. We did that a little bit with number one. Our H position is a versatile position. DJ Turner did some of that stuff for us. So prefer to say it's a game plan deal and not trying to give away our secrets. But
I got you.
What's DJ's status?
He's not going to play anymore this year. We're going to utilize the red shirt year that he has, allow him to continue to work on his issues off the field, which he's doing a great job. And we're going to keep supporting him as we have been. But we're going to utilize the red shirt season that he has, and hopefully get him back next year to play.
And what does it entail in terms of getting him back with the red shirt? Just because he didn't
just
play?
Just because he's only played 3 games,
3 games,
and he has a red shirt year available. And the plan is to try to utilize the red shirt season for him this year and get him back for a senior year next year.
In terms of some of the other guys who weren't able to go, they've been nicked up and weren't able to go
Let's
last
go down the
week.
list, man. I'm in here with my list.
Minor,
Just
Jordan,
call a name out
Lewis.
for me.
Yeah.
Who that?
Minor, Jordan.
Marcus Minor
Lewis.
practiced today and has practiced the last 2 days.
Johnny Jordan.
Johnny Jordan is not. He played last game. He's practiced all week.
Okay. Marcus Lewis.
Marcus Lewis practiced the last 2 days.
Okay.
Expectation of him to play.
Okay.
That's about it.
I think those are starting
Terrence
to
Davis is
start.
close.
Yeah.
Terrence Davis is getting closer. He's kind of like in the AAA, giving him a little assignment period to see how he does and try to get him back.
The redshirt rule obviously makes things a different animal in terms of evaluating guys, but do you have a pretty good sense at this point as to, are there any more guys you want to get past the 2 to 4 game mark and beyond?
We're all in with them pretty much, unless we have a few more of these injuries. Guys like Isaiah Hazel is going to play for us, Gator's playing for us, Banks is playing for us, Cortez Andrews is playing for us on special teams, and Trayvon Collins is playing for us on some special teams and some safety. Obviously, Nick is playing. Got a lot of freshmen that are actually playing. I think there's only a handful of guys that are still kind of in that area. Unless we have a few more of these injuries, guys like Isaiah Hazel is going to play for us. Gator's playing for us. Banks is playing for us. Cortez Andrews is playing for us on special teams, and Trayvon Collins is playing for us on some special teams and some safety. Obviously, Nick is playing. Got a lot of freshmen that are actually playing. I think there's only a handful of guys that are still kind of in that area where they play 1 or 2 games. And right now, unless we're to have any other injuries, I'd say that those guys will still try to utilize the 4 games at some point if we can.
When you're forced to play as many young guys as you are this year, and even if the games don't go the way you'd like them to, do you make it a point of emphasis to try and stress to them that it's improvement, not perfection, along the way, and that these reps are going to be valuable for them down the line?
Well, again, it goes back to kind of the premise of what we're built on. I mean, we're not going to be result oriented. I know that's what we get. People want to see is the results. For us, we've got to be really process driven. We're in year one of building a program. We're at 500 at the halfway point. We've played a lot of young players. I mean, when you look at guys like Austin Fontaine and how he's developed, and just think like he's a redshirt freshman. Jalen Duncan, as bad as people want to see him play at a higher level, I continue to see him improve. So it's a marathon for us, and we're going to always teach, coach, and try to put together ways to get the wins. But for us, we got to establish the habits and behaviors that it takes to win, and that's way more important than the results. But what happens is if the habits and behaviors are in line with our culture and how we want to do things, the wins take care of themselves, as we've seen with this up and down season. I mean, there's times where we've played really, really well, and there's been times we played, the exact opposite, and it's because our habits and the behaviors of how we practice and how we learn and how we prepare and how we recover just have been really inconsistent, which is usually a telltale sign of a team that's playing a lot of young players, because you got to get them consistently to make the choice to do it the right way, and that's what culture is all about, and that's what we're trying to build.
I know the secondary has been an issue this year, now with Tino out. What are you guys trying to work on to maybe shore up that end of the field with him confident?
I think it ain't just the secondary. When you see big plays, a lot of times you gotta get pass rush. I mean, we gotta shore that up. Our linebackers gotta play man coverage and do a good job with their eye control. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of when we give up 400 yards in games, there's a lot of blame to be passed along. I think the big thing is the experience of getting those guys out there. I mean, when you look out there and you see 33 and you see 37 playing basically full quarters for us, and these guys were just riding a yellow school bus last year, and they're lined up playing against Penn States and Purdue and all these Big Ten schools. But the thing I like is how they compete, and what it does is it bodes well that the more experience these guys get, and they build that toolbox of experience with Purdue and all these Big Ten schools. But the thing I like is how they compete. And what it does is it bodes well that the more experience these guys get, and they build that toolbox of experience where, you're playing man coverage, and you're not supposed to go up the inside, and it's like you tell your son, don't touch the stove, it's hot. What do? They touch the stove and they figure it out, and they learn pretty quickly the stove is hot. Well, I think what you'll see is to answer your question, is these guys and the experience and watching the film and then going back and making the corrections. They're smart kids, and they'll make that correction. My biggest concern has been getting the ball on the ground when it spits out of there with our safeties, and our safeties have got to be the last line of defense and get the ball on the ground, and we haven't done that on a consistent basis. So that's the part we've worked a lot this week on: angles to the ball, tackling, thudding up on the scout team to make sure that we can get that part corrected.
Go ahead.
When you talk about improving the consistency of execution, I mean, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Because I guess, to me, consistency seems very long-term. I mean, how do you find tangible markers
Not long-term at all, because we are one day at a time. We're defined right now. So consistency is getting the kid to do the job this time, and then when that play is over, it has a shelf life. It goes away. Mm-hmm. And now I got to do it again. So you got to make the choice to do my job right every time, exactly how I'm coached. And so it isn't a long-term thing. We look at it as an immediacy thing, where every single play, I need your exact focus and attention to detail to do it exactly how we coach it. So that's why, if you ever had a chance to watch us coach, we are coaching the crap out of these guys every single play. And then we go watch the film, and we coach them up again. And then we show them examples of how, if we've done it right, or other people that do it right. And so they visually see it, they verbally hear it, they get to kinetically do it, and that's how you build the consistency.
Have you seen it as the season has gone on?
It's just been inconsistent. I mean, I see bits and pieces. I mean, today's practice to me on offense was kind of horse crap. In my opinion, it wasn't the habits or the consistency. One play we break one for a long run, the next play we've got a guy going false starting or jumping offside. So there have been spurts of it. I mean, yeah, you look at us early in the year, and I think obviously when you're in training camp, you're 24 hours football. And so you come out of training camp, and all the habits and behaviors that were created during training camp are there. Then they get school, then they get social media, then they get the media, then they get everybody either telling them how great they are or how bad they are. And now the focus on the football part kind of gets distorted. Then they got midterms, then they're like struggling in the class, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of other things going on in their mind besides football. So we started off with good habits and behaviors because that's all they did for 24 hours for 25, 26 days. And now they got a lot of other things they got to manage, and they're 18 to 22-year-olds, and I'm sure they're not going to sleep at 9 o'clock. They're playing Fortnite, video games, girlfriends, whatever. I mean, it's just a lot of other things. So our job is to get them to kind of prioritize what's important and make sure that when they come to the practice field that we can get them to do their job with the right kind of effort, right kind of mindset, right kind of attention to detail one time and then do it again. One time and do it again. That's how you build it.
Coach, going.
That
Coach,
was a long answer.
Yeah.
Coach, going.
One today.
Yeah, going back to that idea of just being consistent. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, you guys had that huge win against Rutgers, and then last week, obviously, you had the disappointing loss to Purdue. Coming into this week, what was your mindset? What was your message to the guys just throughout practice?
That what's happened in the past won't define what's going to happen this weekend. What's going to happen this weekend will be dictated by the choices we make, how we practice, how we prepare. Like, again, not result oriented. We don't add them up until the end of the season. It's the next game, the 24-hour rule. We do make corrections off of it, but the past isn't connected to the present. And I think the only thing that really matters is what do we choose to do next? And that's what we say to our team.
What, in terms of getting a more sustained pass rush, what has been the biggest issue? Keandre seems to be the only guy who's able to get to the quarterback. And then how does that put the pressure on the young guys on defense to stay with their guys?
Yeah, I agree. We try to outnumber the box. Pass rushing is a unique skill set, and we do have some interior guys. I think Samo gives us some twitchiness in the interior part of it. Keandre has been probably our best dynamic pass rusher. Brand has done a good job, I think, getting after the quarterback, but most of our pressure is going to come from our numbers. And I think if you go look at the time that the quarterback has to throw the ball, it isn't, when we're bringing the type of pressure we bring, he doesn't have a lot of time to throw it. So he's throwing the chop route, which is the inside fade that you've seen a lot of people catch on us. And then they're throwing slants, which we are limiting or shrinking what they can do because we're getting pressure. We're not, but the time of the pressure and the type of throws they make, which is why we've got to do a better job of defending the slant route with our leverage and being physical at the line of scrimmage. And then on those chop routes, we've been in great position skill-wise. I've said this every week. I mean, guys are in position. I mean, the first play I think I saw us made on a fade route was when 33 made the play on the sideline this week against Purdue, where he didn't panic, didn't run into him, grab him, just kind of watched his hands, came up with his hands, knocked the ball out. And so, I mean, they're getting a little bit better at it, but the two things we got to stop is allowing the inside slants when we're bringing that type of pressure that we bring, because that's the quickest way to get beat. And so, I mean, no pass rush in itself is going to get to a quarterback under 2.5 seconds. And that's what they're basically doing. They're going to their quick games, and we've got to challenge the receivers a little more on the outside. There haven't been very many, like they caught a deep ball this week where we were in cover 2 and we had a 3-man rush with dropping 8, and the guy kind of scrambled around. But most of our big plays in the passing game have come with the ball coming out pretty quickly, and we're us not getting the ball on the ground when it's been thrown.
Thanks, Coach.